Now, upon reading the title of this video and noticing the game itself has an exclamation mark in it, you might be thinking that it would be low-hanging fruit to shout the game's title every time I mention it throughout this video. So of course I will be doing that. Tilt is a 1996 video pinball title from NMS Software that was brought to North America and Japan as the ridiculously boring Hyper 3D pinball, which sounds like it was released on PC under a budget label with like 3 other pinball games. This is one of only 2 pinball games the developer ever created, with the other being 1998's Star Trek Pinball for PCs. If we compare Tilt to the digital pinball titles, Tilt is definitely going for a more realistic take on pinball with more lifelike dimensions. This means the tables are longer and more feature-rich as a result, with some of them, like the monster, being so crammed full of gimmicks it's actually kind of hard to comprehend. As a result of this, Tilt offers 2 viewing angles. A top-down view that scrolls, which will give you a better view of the action towards the back of the table. The other angle is a locked force perspective view that frames the entire table without scrolling, but does obscure a lot of the features at the back of the table due to the sheer density of them. Once again, I do prefer to use the locked angle, as I don't get so lost and motion sick with the top-down scrolling angle, but it's still difficult to play these tables in the locked angle due to the sheer amount of stuff cluttering up these tables. I appreciate there being a lot of stuff to interact with, but sometimes it does feel like it's a bit of a detriment to the playability when you can't actually see what you're interacting with. Thankfully, there's a fair bit of variety to Tilt, and we've got a whopping 6 tables to muck around with. Some of them are designed better than others, with Funfair, Gangster and Star Quest being the most comprehensible, thanks to less clutter than the other tables. Speaking of clutter, Tilt has these bizarre full-motion video sequences that play out mid-game when you achieve certain goals, and while they are a flashy bit of silliness the first time you see them, they soon become grating. Thankfully, you can turn them off if they get too irritating. So you should be getting the impression that Tilt has a lot of content and a lot of options to mess around with and tweak the game to your liking, which is certainly appreciated, but unfortunately there's no saving the physics. The ball in Tilt doesn't feel like a heavy metal ball bearing, it's a lot lighter and floatier than I would like, and as a result it often feels like you spend a lot of time waiting to hit the ball instead of actually hitting the ball. This in turn makes the action feel tiresome, which is not something you want from pinball, which is supposed to be fast and twitchy and in your face. The ball also interacts with ramps in a very peculiar way, seeming to speed up unnaturally like it's been set on a predetermined course. Despite all these criticisms, I don't think Tilt is a bad game, and there's certainly a lot of game in here. You can get used to the weird physics, and it's certainly nice having the 2 camera angles to play in your preferred way, but it's clear that this isn't the best pinball game on the system. You can definitely get faster and more intense action with the digital pinball games, but if you're looking for an alternative, then Tilt will certainly offer some decent fun to pinball enthusiasts. Unfortunately, you do have to push past the weird physics and some really over-designed tables to find that fun.